Good evening. I'm Jesse McCall. Today is January 12th, 2026. I'm live from the studios of Tri Young News. Tonight I want to step away from the maps and the military Good evening. I'm Jesse McCall. Today is January 12th, 2026. I'm live from the studios of Tri Young News. Tonight I want to step away from the maps and the military jargon for a moment to speak to you, the global audience, heart to heart. We live in an era of loud news. Our headlines are currently dominated by the clash of giants, the massive front lines in Ukraine, the heartbreaking cycles of violence in Israel and Palestine, and the high-stakes political maneuvers in the United States, Russia, Venezuela. In such a crowded media landscape, it's very easy for the cause of a smaller nation like Cambodia to be seen as a side story. But I'm here to remind you that the soul of international justice is not measured by the size of a country's army or the reach of its nuclear arsenal. Cambodia is a nation that has spent the last 4 decades performing a miracle. Cambodia has rebuilt Cambodia's society from the literal ashes of the 20th century. Cambodia chose peace. Cambodia chose development. Cambodia chose dignity. For the big powers, international law can sometimes feel like a suggestion or a tool of convenience if necessary. But for smaller nations like ours here, international law maybe is our only shield. It's the only thing that stands between a peaceful life and the whims of a neighboring bully. When a nation like Thailand, driven by internal political chaos and economic desperation, steps over our Cambodian border, please understand, they're not just taking land. They're breaking the global contract. You see, if the world allows Cambodia's sovereignty to be eroded simply because Cambodia is not a giant, then no small nation is safe. Ladies and gentlemen, we need the international community to stand with us, not just out of charity, but out of a shared commitment to the only rules that keep this world of ours civilized. To understand Cambodia's situation and even outrage, you must understand even what an international treaty actually is. You could think of it as a sacred binding contract between maybe even 2 families. It's a promise made in front of the world that defines where your home ends and where mine begins. But it's not just a basic boundary line. This is a sacred binding contract with the world as the witness. These treaties are the DNA of global peace. Without international treaties, the world reverts to a state of might makes us right. When Thailand invades Cambodia, they are tearing up these sacred promises. Please understand, ladies and gentlemen, in the 195 nations around the world, there are these treaties in place. What we're experiencing today is Thailand is tearing up these sacred promises, making a joke of them. Specifically, Thailand has breached Article 2.4 of the United Nations Charter. This is the golden rule of modern civilization. It strictly prohibits the use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state. By flying F-16 and T-50 fighter jets 90 kilometers into Cambodian sovereign airspace, dropping bombs on civilian infrastructure, Bangkok has not just offended Cambodia, they've offended every nation that believes in the United Nations Charter. Furthermore, listen carefully, they have discarded the Franco-Siamese treaties of 1904 and 1907, of which their own king was a signatory on. These are foundational documents. I know you bring it up, we bring it up, and it may be foreign to many of you, but you have to understand that these are foundational documents signed by the monarchs of both nations, agreed upon by both nations. Borders can't change with every administration. You can't have a new administration come in and decide that they don't like the borders that were once agreed upon. Can you imagine the chaos that our world would be in if that were the case? These treaties were verified by the International Court of Justice in 1962 and then once again in 2013. These are the treaties, like it or not. These are what the two monarchs signed on. Thailand's current regime, listen carefully, is attempting cartographic imperialism. What does that mean? That means they are claiming their own self-drawn military maps are superior to the treaties that their own monarch signed upon. They've also breached the Geneva Conventions, which mandate the protection of civilians and prohibit the targeting of non-military infrastructure. Again, prohibit the targeting of non-military infrastructure. Look at the hundreds of homes that have been destroyed in Cambodia. Ancient temples, modern temples, Christian churches, schools, medical centers, bridges. Hello? This is non-military infrastructure. In addition, they've breached the Kuala Lumpur Peace Accord, which was agreed upon. This is the pathway to peace over this period of time. They breached it by refusing to withdraw. Repercussions must exist, ladies and gentlemen. Law without consequences is merely a poem, whether it's in your personal life or whether it's in small nations like Cambodia. We need the world to turn those words into a wall of protection for the Cambodian people by demanding sanctions on Thailand, legal accountability against Thailand for this predatory military elite. I want to also address the topic of the Thai propaganda machine. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is a Thai propaganda machine. It's very alive and well, unfortunately. And the Thai propaganda machine loves to manipulate this topic. And that's the topic of landmines. For your information, for your listening pleasure, it's very important for you to understand the border between Cambodia and Thailand, specifically the jagged limestone escarpments of the Dang Rek Mountains along the Cambodia-Thai border, is home to what are world-renowned as some of the most densely contaminated minefields on the planet. This is a terrain of vertical cliffs dense jungle canopy, and ancient stone. These mines are the scars of our 20th century civil wars. These are landmines in dense jungle areas. And it's very important for the world to understand this. These minefields are within Cambodian territory. When the Thai military reports that one of their soldiers has stepped on a landmine, all it is that they're admitting to a crime. That soldier was not on patrol in their territory. He was a trespasser and invader on sovereign Cambodian soil. If you step on a mine inside someone else's house, you're not the victim. You're the intruder. And again, the Thai regime has used these accidents as a pretext for defense. Take a look at also the disproportionate response. A Thai soldier stepping on a historical mine inside Cambodia is a tragedy of geography, but the premeditated bombing of Cambodian schools and hospitals is a crime of the state. While they talk about one soldier's foot, we're talking about swarms of armed drones over Cambodian cities and missiles leveled at our children's classrooms, ladies and gentlemen. A landmine is a blind remnant of the past in densely forested and mountainous areas. A Thai drone is a calculated instrument of the present. One is a scar of the past, the other is a fresh wound. Today, as of today, January 12, 2026, the humanitarian situation is still very serious here in Cambodia. There are 159,592 Cambodians that are currently homeless. I want to be very clear about who these people are. Maybe you've seen pictures and it looks a bit dusty and a bit dirty and a bit rural. Please understand, these are not beggars. These are not refugees waiting for a handout. No. These are working class citizens. These are people with dignity who have been building Cambodia's golden economy. Among the 150,000 displaced, there's teachers that were grading papers when the first shells began to fall. There's engineers who were designing bridges. There's small business owners. There's shopkeepers. There's dignified farmers whose tractors and livelihoods have been looted by the Thai troops. There's talented young people, tech-savvy young people, the tech-savvy generation of Cambodia that are now sleeping under plastic tarps in the mud. Again, these are not refugees waiting for some sort of handout. These are working class citizens. 150,000 of them that are homeless due to Thai occupation and attempt at annexation. There's dignified fathers who have spent last many years, decades of hard labor to build a home, only to see it bulldozed by a Thai armored unit. There's mothers that are showing incredible strength, giving birth to their first child in a refugee camp when they had a comfortable home to live in previously. Parents that are trying to keep their spirits up when their kids continue to have nightmares about Thai F-16s roaring overhead. This suffering was not caused by a drought or flood. It was caused by greed. It was caused by a Thai military that is currently struggling to keep its own divided nation under its control and is now looting Cambodian property to buy political favor. It was caused by a culture of institutional racism in Thailand that views some of its own brothers and sisters as disposable. This is not a dispute. This is a robbery of hundreds of thousands of individuals' livelihoods. The world must hold Thailand accountable, not just even in a court of law, although that's very applicable, but also in the court of reputation. Thailand's Land of Smiles branding is now a hollow mask for a regime that operates much more like a regional protection racket of an aggressive imperialistic regime, much more than a modern state. I want to speak directly to the people of Thailand. Look at your national reputation. It's going down the drain. While your neighbors, Vietnam, Cambodia, are being respected for their growth and vision, your military elite is making you look like a nation of looters and bullies. You're spending your taxes on M85 cluster munitions to kill neighbors with whom you share deep historical and cultural ties. If you love your country, if you value your national dignity, you must speak up. Don't let the Thai deep state and elite ruin your future and your name. Remember, silence in the face of this aggression is an endorsement for these crimes. To the international community, Cambodia continues to stand firm, but the law, international pressure requires your voice. Let repercussions be real. Let Cambodia's sovereignty be absolute. Stand with Cambodia, stand with the truth. I'm Jesse McCall signing off from Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Good night.
ត្រយ៉ងនាំសារពិតគ្រប់ទីកន្លែង